Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Business and Travel Podcast. My name is Jackson Dean, and in this episode, we're going to go through the engagement formula. I did promise last week that we would go into a lot more detail about the Instagram engagement formula, something that I've been using and I guess teaching for a long time. I wouldn't go so far as to say I created the formula. It's a very simple formula. It's not really something that you need to put your name to, but I've never really seen anyone else teach this online. So, I'm sure other people have used it, but at the same time, it's quite simple, but it's very, very effective. So the Instagram engagement formula is something I came up with to just give everybody let's say a litmus test of whether their accounts were real or whether their accounts were fake. And it's worked remarkably well. It's got a very high level of reliability once you understand, the way that you apply it. So let's just jump in and I'll explain exactly how you calculate it. So the engagement formula is just literally calculating the engagement rate on a person's Instagram account. The way that you do that is you figure out the average number of likes that someone is getting on a post. You can include comments in there as well if you like, but just keep it really simple. Just find out what their average number of likes is. The way you do that is you add up, say, 10 photos. All right. And I would suggest adding up the right column of someone's Instagram because the most recent 2 photos might skew your data a little bit because they may have only just posted those photos, say an hour ago or 4 hours ago or something. What you want to do is you want to get photos that have really gone through the whole 24-hour course of Instagram. And then that's, the conclusion of how much engagement that photo has gotten. So just be careful not to skew the data too much and try and get a very reliable average. And what you're going to do is you're going to add them all up. So say you've got, 10 different photos. You're going to add up all the likes on those photos. Then you're going to divide that by 10. Pretty simple. That's just going to give you a number that's called the average number of likes per photo. So, say someone's getting, say, 100 likes on a photo, 120 likes on a photo, 200 likes on a photo, 170 on a photo. You add them all up, you divide it by 10, and you might get a number of, say, 150. That's going to tell you that you get 150 average likes per photo. Now, you can do it specifically by adding up like every individual specific number, or you can just ballpark the figures, and that's what I would definitely recommend. You can do it with your eyeballs. You don't really need a calculator. You just sort of add up 10 pieces of content and divide it by 10. But you can also just guesstimate it, all right? But once you have that number, you figure out that average number of likes. What you're going to do then is you're going to divide that number by their total followers. So the formula is average number of likes per photo divided by total followers. So for example, say somebody has 100 average likes per photo and they have 10,000 total followers. You're going to divide 100 by 10,000 and that's going to give you a decimal. It's going to give you 0.01. Okay. Then if you know your math, all you're going to do is times that number by 100 and it'll give you a percentage, which would be 1%. Right? So that in that case, someone who has 100 average likes per photo, they have 10,000 followers, they have an engagement rate of 1%. Okay? That sounds really low. And that's why I came up with a legend or a way to measure what's good and what's bad, right? As an engagement rate. And here's how I'd explain engagement rates. Anything that's below 1% engagement is very questionable, okay, as an engagement rate. I would say as a caveat to this that the numbers don't necessarily work, or the engagement formula doesn't necessarily work as well once you get past, say, 100,000 followers, right? Because once you get past 100,000 followers on Instagram, Instagram actually intentionally reduces the amount of engagement you can possibly get on a post. There's heaps of reasons why, and there's ways around it. But it's sort of a one-on-one thing that I go through with high-level influencers on how they actually boost their engagements. But I really rarely deal with that end of the market. I'm more talking about the micro influencers, people that have, between 0 and 50,000 followers. So the formula really works for between 0 to say 100,000 followers. I just I'll throw that in there as a caveat. But let's just take another example, just so you guys get the idea. Say someone has 200 average likes per photo and they have 10,000 followers. Well, you're going to take 200 average likes per photo, divide it by 10,000 followers. You're going to get a decimal, which will be 0.02. You times that number by 100, it's going to give you a 2, and that just means 2%. So when you're doing that calculation, you're just trying to figure out what is this percentage. Now, good engagement is anything above 1%. Okay, so anything between 1% and say 3% is good engagement. Okay, anything above 3% to say 6% is insanely good engagement. Anything above 6% is just out of this world excellent. Okay. Again, as another caveat, these numbers are going to be skewed for people that have less than 5,000 followers, right? Because you could have, say, 1,000 followers, you're getting 200 likes on a post. Well, you have 20% engagement. But the way that Instagram works, the algorithm, it actually allows a lot more of your audience to be seeing your content when you have a small amount of followers versus when you have a lot of followers, you have to actually have a lot of good content to reach them. So that's how you calculate that engagement formula. Again, just to repeat the legend for you, something between 0 and 1% as engagement, I'd say is bad. Something between 1% and 3% is good. Something between 3 and 6% is great. And something over 6% is excellent. Okay, so that's how you calculate the engagement percentage. All right. What you also want to do is really have a look at the likes and the comments, okay, on someone's account. So if someone, for example, is getting a lot of likes on an Instagram account, or your competitor's getting a lot of likes, or your influencer's getting a lot of likes on your account, but you don't see any sort of real engagement, so you get into the comment section and people aren't leaving genuine comments, then you start to question, are the likes real or are they fake? And, it's a double-edged sword because it's very hard to tell. Unfortunately, the Instagram community is quite against leaving comments, you could say. It's not a platform where you see a lot of comments. And I even see very big, very credible influencers and accounts that I know have real followings, only get 5 to 10 comments on a post. And it's a weird complex, but it's just the way Instagram works. That's why I only really look at likes as a real engagement metric, because the comments are just so difficult. Sometimes even myself on my personal account, I'll get 2 comments on a post one day and the next day I'll have 90 comments on a post. So it's quite random, and it's why I say the comments are a really unreliable metric for engagement to really measure that. But at the same time, you can just sort of use your own intuition on whether something is real or fake. My, advice here is to just try this formula out and just do a few calculations on a bunch of different accounts in your industry and your niche. See what is real, see what's fake. Anything below 1%, you can now consider is fake engagement. It's a fake following. If they have 100,000 followers and they're getting, 400, 500 likes on a post, well, that means they're getting 0.5% engagement, which is less than 1%, which means there's something wrong there. 99.5% of their followers aren't liking or commenting on their post. So when that's the case, you can start to identify, well, is this really a real account? Is this a real influencer? Is this a real competitor? Or is this just someone that I will never look at again? And that's where you need to be careful on Instagram. You want to make sure it's not the blind leading the blind. You want to make sure that you are modeling your content and your strategies and so forth off real accounts or real influencers. And you need to have a keen eye for that. And to get a keen eye, the best way is to come up with a nice formula. And this formula that I've come up with is a pretty good litmus test for most accounts on Instagram. So use that to your advantage. I hope that has helped, and I hope that makes sense. If you need anything, or if you have any questions, again, just hit us up, leave a comment. You can hit me up on jacksondean.com.au. You can go on our podcast page on socialgrowthmedia.com. And you can also hit me with a direct message on Instagram at JacksonDean1. So any and all of those will work if you do have a question about that. If you want any further help on, understanding this ebook that we're going through, and this engagement formula, again, wasn't actually in the ebook. So that's like a little bonus section to what is actually included in that ebook. You can still pick that up on socialgrowthmedia.com/resources. It's free, and we'll go into a little bit more detail on how this is all working together. Each one of these tips, each one of these episodes throughout this series is sort of linking together, as you can see. You can pull these different ones together and sort of create a real strategy out of a lot of this information. If you are motivated enough to listen to it all, you're going to get big results out of it. That's the whole point of me having this podcast. To end things, guys, as per normal, version 1 is better than version none. So go out there and execute something today. Execute your version 1, get it out there, collect the data, collect the feedback, and then go to version 2, and eventually you'll be at version 10. That's the way you build things. Don't build them so seriously. Don't build them so perfectly. Just get out version 1, and eventually it will be perfect. And that could go for your vlog that you've always wanted to start, even a podcast that you've always wanted to start, a business that you want to start, an idea, a service, doesn't matter. Version 1 is going to be your best option there. So put that together, get it out there to the market, see what they think, iterate, fix it, make it better, and all of a sudden you'll be at exactly what you envisioned in the beginning. And that all starts with version 1. So get out there, guys, and execute something today. I hope that's helped. Give us some feedback if you have enjoyed this, and I look forward to the next episode. I'll see you guys next week.